Great, good morning. Everyone have a nice weekend?
Yes.
Nice long weekend, right? And then I get to tell you to have another nice weekend after today, which is exciting. You know what else is exciting? I ditched my cut, right? I'm so excited. I don't click everywhere I go now, right? Everywhere I go, my kids are like, I can hear you coming. Right. I went to physical therapy on Thursday or Friday and I walked in and the guy stole it from me. He's all like, no more crutch for you. Well, all right, I guess he gave it back at the end, but I feel very free without it. Now I can limp around without clicking, so little things of progress. But on the sad side, or I guess it's good, it was coming inevitably. I want to mention something and I'll come back to it again maybe next week. But I did find out my surgery date. So I have a little bit of information for you that I just want to share. So if you're looking at your syllabus, if you have your syllabus, maybe pull it out. And if not, you can visit it later. But on the 22nd, we have exam number 1. And that on the exam day, you don't come in, right? The exams are taken on Canvas. That is also going to be my surgery day. So while you all are taking the exam, I'll be having surgery. I would rather switch with you, right? Like, I think I'd rather take the test. But I'm gonna have surgery that day. So what that means is these 3 classes, I won't be here. Okay, so these will all be online. And rather than like have a class live at this time, because I don't know what kind of state I'll be in, especially on like Wednesday of that week. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna give you some like lectures that I record. I'm gonna give you an assignment or 2 to do, and it'll just have like a due date at the end of that day. So I have this information now, so I just want to kind of put it on your mind, and then when we get closer, we can talk more about it. But the 22nd is the first exam, which we wouldn't have normally had class. I'll be having surgery sometime that day. I don't know when yet. And then these 3 classes, I'll give you like a virtual lecture and assignment so we don't fall behind. I usually show a film in here. And so I'm kind of switch the order of topics and give you the film to watch so we don't fall behind in our topics that we're covering. I want to make sure we get to everything. So that's kind of the tentative plan for now. If it changes, I'll let you know. But we always had the exam that day, and then just the following 3 classes, we will do like virtual stuff since I'll be out. Okay, so just to kind of put that on your mind. One other thing to make sure is on your mind. Did I give you the wrong one? Okay, change it if you want to. So I uploaded it again. It's not on there?
Yeah.
That's so strange. Okay, so I printed it this morning, but the printer was being weird and it combined 2 documents together in my other class. So maybe flip it over and just write your names on there. Sorry about that. But I'm glad you told me because I printed a human sexuality and an abnormal psych lecture and it put them together. I was like, well, this would be interesting. But like, so it was merging things today, so I don't know. I had another thought, but it left me. Any questions about this for the moment at all? And again, I'll talk about it more later, but these 3 classes, I'll be out, and so I'll give you like virtual or online assignments. Yeah. Yes, so I started doing that during like right after COVID when we came back, and I think it's a really nice way to lower test anxiety. That you can take it online with your notes and your book. So we'll talk a lot about that when we get a little closer, but I want it to be kind of on your mind. And you'll have a study guide. It's actually already on our Canvas if you wanted to start preparing. The other thing, that's what it was that I wanted to mention. If you're looking at the syllabus coming up on the 15th, that first homework assignment is due. So as we go into like another weekend, maybe start thinking about what you want to do for that first homework assignment. Remember that there's that menu of choices that you could do. So you could go condom shopping or birthday shopping for a set of twins. You don't have to buy anything either time unless you want to. You could go to a sex shop and ask questions. You could do an art project. There was a book report. There's a whole host of options. You could go get tested for STIs. There's just so many things you can do, right? So things to consider on our upcoming weekend that is coming up on the 15th. So just be thinking about it. I'll mention it again next week, but be thinking about it.
Is that when it's due or?
It's due on the 15th. So 9:15 is by like that night. 11:59 p.m. That's homework number 1. And again, if you have a cool idea, you're always welcome to run them by me. If you have an idea of something that's not on there, like you want to go to a strip club and write about it, something like that. I had somebody do that last semester, which was kind of interesting. But pick something fun on there. There's a lot of really like fun options, I think. It could be watching movies related and then writing a paper about it and picking scenes. There's like 8 or 9 different choices. Okay, so just some things to kind of put on your radar, and I'll keep reminding you as we get a little bit closer. Okay.
So, yeah, so like basically it's like we have to do that and then we're gonna write about our experience.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So all of them, there's either like a little field trip or a project, and then you write a short paper.
Okay.
And it's on Canvas. So if you go on Canvas, you can see the assignment instructions,
Okay.
and you only need to pick
Okay.
one.
If it's just write a short paper,
Yeah.
if it's like write a short paper, and if like it can be just like 1 page long, I think I can reasonably get it done.
Yeah, I think it's 2 to 3 pages. So it's a little longer than that, but you have like you have almost 2 weeks, so you have some time to start thinking about working on it. Yeah. Yeah, you can, or you could all do the same thing, right? And so if you know someone in the class, take them with you. Go to a sex shop together, right? Strength in numbers, right? I don't know, whatever. It's totally fine if you do. Everyone did the same, or everyone did something different. And again, I usually have people propose ideas. So if you have an idea, feel free to run it by me. Anything else from you? I know we're going to Halloween Horror Nights this weekend. It opens this weekend, doesn't it? I think. So I'm ready. Like this weekend's like The Conjuring 4 comes out. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for Halloween Horror Nights. I'm going on the 21st with my preteen children for the first time. I can't wait to watch them scream. Yes? Okay. I'll see you there, right? I'll be the one in the wheelchair. I'm gonna have to get a wheelchair for it, but that means I get to go to the front of the line. So yes, right? Like I can handle that. I don't have to walk and I get to go to the front of the line. Yeah. I haven't. It's on my list. I thought I could watch it at home, but it's not like available to stream yet. So
It's really.
yeah, I've heard we were talking about it last time. I've heard that it's really, really good. It's on my list. That and like The Conjuring 4. We've been watching all the scary movies because now we're in September, right? We're in the Burr months. We're ready. It's time. All right. Anything else for now before we keep going? Okay, so we left off here, right? And we talked a lot about like gender last time and what contributes to gender, all the biology stuff of gender, the hormones and things that will come back. So today is kind of kind of picking up here again. How do we learn gender roles? Looking at that a little bit more. I have kind of a compilation that somebody put together as their assignment, right? So this was somebody's homework assignment that they put together for me like 2 years ago. And it's all about like kind of media and societal influences on gender. And I love it also has a little section related to Halloween and Halloween costumes, which are very gendered. If you haven't been to a Halloween costume store, it's like very, very gendered.
Yeah.
And then interestingly, now they have the like opposite versions of the costumes sometimes too, right?
Yeah. It's like as you kind of go through it when you're like young, it's just like it kind of gets a bit startling, just like how much. Like just like how weird like some of the ones are. Like
they are.
Like whether it's just be like all the witch outfits are just really frilly or like for whatever reason the firefighter costume is pretty much just a bikini.
My poor daughter, we went to Spirit over the weekend, the Spirit Halloween store, and she's like, how come if I want to be a nurse, I have to look like that? And I was like, you don't actually, but yeah, like really over sexualized often for women, and then like really like fake muscles for the guys, right? Like they tend to be very, very gendered. But interestingly, like now we also have some that like present the opposite costume as well. But I have this little montage, and I think it picks up with this slide really well. It talks about kind of parental expectations and peers and modeling the role of television in the media. And it's this little like montage of clips that somebody put together for their homework assignment, looking at how we learn gender roles. It also piggybacks a little bit off of like Disney movies, which are very often very gendered, and like childhood media, which can be very gendered. So I'm going to play this for you. I think it's like 18 minutes long. So if you have it, what I think is so fascinating is just the messages, right? And if you watch TV and you see the commercials, they're very gendered. You go to the shops for costumes, they're gendered. You watch Disney movies, they're gendered. They're getting better, but they're gendered, right? A really cool documentary, Mickey Mouse Monopoly. It's kind of old, 2001, right? But really, really like cool documentary about the gendered like phenomenon in Disney movies. Yeah.
I really want to say like one thing I kind of realized about one of the Disney movies is that with like the weirdest thing about Mulan is that, well, despite how much like he kind of does gender roles, it's also
Yeah.
surprisingly very trans.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like it's pretty much saying where it's like, oh yes, being a man is this, but it's like saying like, girls, you can do this.
Yeah.
But girls, you can reach there. You can like do that while still maintaining your own femininity.
Yes and no, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
a
it's like
little
it's kind of
yes
weird.
and
It's
no.
kind of like yeah, again, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like it's a little bit of it's weirdly a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
And also a really quick thing I want to say about like the whole like kind of fit of the people just doing like the whole like man and woman commercials together. It's just like it really kind of paints the man as an asshole.
Sure it does, right? Like in both
really-
of those situations, my eyes agree. Right, I love that, right? Yeah, like definitely kind of painting in that way. And I think the tricky thing with like Mulan's referenced a lot, right?
Yeah.
So she pretends to be male in order to protect her father, right?
Yeah,
But the consequences for it, and in the end, she goes back to being feminine so she can marry the guy. Like for all of the like positive rhetoric around it, it also has a very like backwards message.
yeah. It's like yeah. Like you said, it's mixed. It's like
Yeah.
it's also weird. It's like there are small instances of it being progressive.
Yeah,
It's like it's weird. Like Disney is like Mulan is just like a whole. That's like a whole bit basket
You
case.
can spend a lot of time on Mulan alone. Yeah, you had your hand up, right, a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, it's interesting that I think it's interesting that they talk about, um, Beauty and the Beast and Mulan, because like, the specific instances they play from those are like, where they're using masculinity kind of as a caricature, and like, Gaston is the bad guy of Beauty and the Beast, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know, like, yes, it is present in there, but they're also like, I will just say, to be fair, they are like using it as an over the top like caricature of itself.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just think that's a fair thing about that they didn't really.
Yeah, and I think that's fair as well, right? So Gaston isn't the good guy, but all the women, except of course, want Gaston really badly, right? And so it's this interplay between the two of like caricaturizing it, but also like making it ideal, but making it like not, right? There's two sides to it, right? It's a little more complicated than it is like presented, at least in that clip. Yeah.
If I could piggyback off of what
Yeah.
Brendan said, in my personal experience, just memories that I had from when I was growing up, masculinity was more accepted in both boys and girls, more so than femininity, or well, rewind a little bit. So masculinity was accepted in both. Like you could be a tomgirl, you know, or a tomboy, sorry, a tomboy as a girl, or you can just be a boy, right? Like my cousins were all super into Star Wars because their dad was super into Star Wars, you know.
Sounds great.
Right? But like you would look at that and think, oh, well, that's probably more for boys. Like, why would girls do that? You know, but it was more accepted for girls to be into Star Wars than it was for boys to be into Marvel films. Yeah, exactly. I remember when I was in like kindergarten, first grade, I had a conversation with my mom. Like, I think I might be like a tomboy. You know, like I really enjoy playing with balls and stuff like that. She's sitting there like that. I'm worried about it. I'm not.
Telling you now.
Yeah, right. So like, but then I had friends who were all like, you know, tomboys and like boys, you know. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And I was expecting the parents to be okay with the girl dressing up as Spider-Man,
A little bit more.
you know. So that kind of surprised me. But yeah, I don't know, just a little bit of my experience.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We've always had a harsher consequence for boys breaking gender than men. I mean, stereotypically in our culture. But I mean, I grew up in probably a different era than you. I was born in '81, right? And so, like for me, being a very like boyish like girl, I mean, I was bullied like crazy. But that was also, you know, I think many years before most of you were growing up. And I think I think we've gotten more progressive as my point, not universally. But as a culture, yeah.
the costume bit reminded me of when I was probably like 8 years old.
Yeah,
I wanted to be Batman for my head.
okay.
And my family and everyone was like, no, don't be Batman, you can be that girl, you're not Batman.
But you
And
know,
I remember, yeah, I know. And I remember being in this skirt, and I was like, what I don't look like Batman.
Yeah.
What is this?
uh-huh.
And then another year for Halloween, I wanted to be a Power Ranger because my little brother and I were
Nice.
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
You know which one I was? It was the pink one. I
Mhm.
didn't want to be the pink one.
Yeah, Jason was always my favorite Power Ranger, right? Not Kimberly, the pink one, right? Yeah.
When I was 3 and found my mom's bills and I like put a blanket over my head to pretend I was a princess but then I put it upstairs.
Oh no.
Sorry, I just reminded of that. That's not what
I'm like, that's tragic in its own, right?
but I think that a lot of homophobia towards gay men comes from misogyny because
Sure.
like the worst thing that a man can do is like act like a woman
Mhm.
in the eyes of other men.
Sure.
I think that I mean, and it's especially prevalent when you see like how feminine gay men are treated versus like masculine gay men. Like masculine gay men are often more accepted than feminine gay men are. Like even in sort of like more like left-leaning spaces, often like you'll still hear like I don't know. It's like there's still like more of an annoyance with feminine gay men than there is for masculine gay men. And then I also think misogyny, like or that idea where it's like the worst thing a man can be is like a woman, also affects trans women because trans women are often automatically treated like sexual predators or like perverts. Meanwhile, like trans men are often like infantilized to the point of like, oh well, you're just like you're damaged. Like you really like you must have been like been through so much to like want to be a boy.
Yeah.
But then like trans women are treated like these monsters, like these sexual predators or like, you know, and that sort of thing. And it's also with gay men, they're often like gay adult men are often assumed to be like sexual predators.
All the
Yeah.
different layers and different views of different
Yeah.
identities.
Yeah, it's like I think like one of the saddest things is that I feel like the biggest like pattern with this is that men are just seen as like monsters.
Mhm.
Is that men are seen as monsters. Like again with the commercial stuff, it's like
Yeah.
men are seen as assholes, horrible people, but it's like this weird like defeatist like, oh yeah, we're all horrible people. Oh yeah, like
Well, there's
Men are
just
just-
generalizations, like if you
Yeah.
make a generalization, right?
yeah, it's like it's such a defeatist generalization where it's like, oh yeah, they're all horrible, and if they do something out of the norm, they're probably doing it. You know, it's like they have this tone of like, oh yeah, they're doing something out of the norm. They're probably doing it just to get their dick wet on some dick wet at like a special opportunity.
That reminds me of the whole trend, like, was like, what, a year ago, where like, would you choose the man or the bear, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
And everyone's like, I choose the bear, like, I'd rather be alone with a bear in the wilderness than a man, right? And like, and so there's obviously problems with these huge generalizations or vilifying like
Yeah.
anyone, right? A
Yeah.
lot of layers to this, yeah.
My mom is like such a funny example of this. She grew up very, very religious and she grew up with like trucks and dirt. So when she was raising me, I'd be like, oh, will you play like dolls with me? She's like, no, I have no idea how to do that. I'm out. She was like, peace out. I had an obsession with Jack Sparrow when I was like 7, and I never seen Pirates of the Caribbean. I was just like, I need to be Jack Sparrow for Halloween. And she was like, you know what? Sure. So she was invested, like she was drawing facial hair and everything, like she was so invested in that. And then I came out,
Yes.
no. She's like, take it back. I'm like,
Interesting. I mean, and like just such different experiences, right? And the wild things of Disney movies, I mean, they have gotten more progressive. Commercials have gotten more progressive. I was watching TV last night, and there was a commercial for a washer and dryer, and it was the guy doing all the laundry. And I was like, yes, right? Like that's how it should be. It could be either. It could be anyone doing the laundry. It just has to happen, right? Like whoever does it, it shouldn't matter. And so there is progression. And then there's oh, too far, right? And like bring it back in, like, oh, I love this. Oh, until I put the facial hair on, right? Like maybe a little too far, right? Yeah, I think you were next.
My mom was very similar. She grew up Mormon, but in college she ended up like getting like a really short haircut, and she was like the captain of softball team. Um, uh, and she just like in general was a lot more masculine after she had sort of left the Church of Latter-day Saints. And so I think that's part of the reason she was very accepting to me being more feminine as a kid. I remember, like I really liked Disney princesses. Like I wanted to be a Disney princess for Halloween, and she was like fine with it. But then, some other kids like made fun of me, and like when I came home, she was really sad that I didn't want to be a Disney princess.
Yeah, right, because it's hard if that's what you want and then everyone makes, fun of you for it, that's gonna impact what you end up doing. If there was another energy, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would just go off what Mark said earlier. I feel like also a lot of the stigma towards like men doing anything other than like traditional roles. I think a lot of it also has to do with toxic masculinity.
Sure.
And I think that there's like very much like a rigid expectation of like toxic masculinity, I think has like a massive effect on men that is like, pretty detrimental. And it's like I mean like that's mostly who men are getting bullied by as kids is other men. I mean, I feel like that kind of goes in schools, like mostly men are getting bullied by the boys are getting bullied by boys. Girls are mostly getting bullied by girls, mostly, but not always. But also I do think just because it might be a little bit of a double standard sometimes doesn't mean girls don't face consequences when they try and break gender roles as well.
Sure.
It just might be in different ways. I think that they might face more pushback. Like maybe, dressing up as Spider-Man will like people won't care about that. But if a girl wants to, let's say have a job that is not like traditionally a job that women have or something that wants to be like a breadwinner, like they will definitely face a lot of things. So I feel like you can't just simplify it to like, oh, girls can dress up as Spider-Man.
Oh.
And I'm not saying anyone was trying to simplify, I'm just saying like it's a lot more complex and like
So complex.
definitely women can face a lot of blowback from society for like it's just maybe a
Sure. Yeah, right, and it depends on your family, the people who you're surrounded with, like, and it's so dynamic, right? It's constantly changing. We were saying that my youngest is obsessed with like anime and like Naruto is like her favorite thing in the world, right? And like it's all about like all these things that are very stereotypically like more male interests, stereotypically. And like she gets like teased by it by some kids at her school, and other kids are like, "You're cool because of it," and it depends on the kids, how they were raised. It depends on so many factors, right? Yeah.
Well, I feel like most of gender roles are and structures we set up is most of it is built up to support and build men up. And as women, we are told to shut up and quiet. Be seen, not heard, almost like they talk about children in religion. And most of religion is structured around women being subservient to men. So these gender roles kind of all fall right back into misogyny feature.
Again, all the layers to it, right? There's so many layers to it. I'll go all the way back up to you.
Gender roles attack. So I would also, dress up as clothes or grandma's clothes.
Yeah. What was that look again? I like it. Yeah.
Dolls, I love food.
Sure.
People, and was that was gay. You were right, but
Don't you hate when they're right?
they made the assumption just because I was a feminine kid.
Sure.
Babies and all, you can say, oh, well, it just doesn't have a system. You know, he's just talking her, you know, so. I don't, in general, they want to, I didn't apply to them, so people make assumptions around me just because I like them.
Yeah, and that's the instant assumption still, right? When people break a role, that's the instant assumption is it's related to orientation, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't. Yeah.
It's funny because my mom always assumed that I was gay because I like feminine things, but my dad just assumed that I was a trans girl. Like,
Okay.
like when I came out at 13, I was like, I have something to tell you, and he's like, oh, you want to start estrogen, right? That's what he said to me. But no, I was just gay. I mean,
You're like, no. Okay.
I mean, well, no, I mean, well, but I didn't, I didn't. And then
Yeah.
also, I wasn't trying to say that like masculine women don't like
Sure,
face
right.
discrimination or like get like bullied and put down.
Yeah.
I was more saying that like I think that a lot of like the discrimination against just specifically like men acting like women, I think a lot of like the ways in which they are treated specifically is rooted in
Sure.
misogyny. And I mean, obviously that's true for women like being more masculine because it's like, well, like get back in your place, you know. And then for men, I think it's more like it's like when they act like women, it's like the worst thing they can do.
Yeah, harsher maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a thought?
Yeah, I find it funny that you said that. Well, it's not funny, but like,
Right.
it first my experience, about trans men being infantilized, because my sister has known that I've been questioning my gender since I was like 15. And when I asked her if she can take me to get, get an appointment to get testosterone, she was like, no, you just think you're trans because of the trauma that you went through. And
Yeah.
be like one in your life. I was like, bro,
Right.
what the hell?
Right.
I can't do anything.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and again, just like all the layers, the assumptions, the things that are present there, right? It's complicated. And like, I have these terms up here. I put all these terms up on the slide. Like, and you mentioned non-binary, and we're talking about all these terms. Like, we tend to think of gender as a binary, right? Binary means two, right? Two sides, that like it's masculine, feminine, right? And that's what a gender binary would be, that we have masculinity on one side, like if we had a masculinity and femininity, right? Like that it's one or the other. But in reality, well, there's all this in between, right? It's a spectrum, right? Gender exists on a spectrum and it might change. Like it could change daily for you or even within the day for some people. It's this spectrum that we have, but we have a lot of like terms that I think really push people toward this idea of like a binary. So cisgender is somebody whose gender identity matches the sex they were born with, right? So somebody who's masculine, who was born male, or feminine, who was born female. We talked about androgyny a lot last time, right? That is this older term, but some of the newer terms are more things like agendered, like I don't identify with any gender, right? Would be agender. Pangender is like you're kind of all over the place. I accept everything, right? I'm a little bit of everything. Gender queer, same thing. I can be more one way one day and a different way another day. Non-binary, I refuse to accept one or the other. I don't put myself as either or. Like, and the tricky thing is these can mean different things to different people as well, right? And so all these terms that we have for identifying like gender identities, technically transsexual. So one distinction that I do want to make here, transsexual refers to somebody's sex. Okay, so transsexual. When we're talking about that, we're talking about somebody whose gender identity is opposite to their biological sex, versus transgendered could be someone whose appearance and behaviors doesn't conform to gender roles, right? Can you see how complicated these terms are? So complicated, right? And there's so many of them. And sometimes people do surgeries to change their sex. Can't change your chromosomal sex, but you can change your anatomy, right? And it's a whole process where you go through taking different hormones. You can go through surgery. It's a whole process of being approved for it. Therapy is usually part of it as well. to make sure that you're making like a sound decision. Just so many different terms for the things that we're talking about. Yeah.
I'm sorry if this is a little bit of a derail, but I just wanted to go back to what she was saying about the patriarchy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would actually say like she was saying that like the patriarchy is designed to like, I guess like boost men and oppress women, and I would say that it's actually very oppressive toward men as well.
Sure.
And I think there's like so many, like, I think it's really, really hurtful towards everybody because it expects like strict, rigid
Yeah.
roles from people. And I mean, like for me personally, like I'm a very masculine, like I enjoy a lot of traditionally masculine things. And it's like, but I don't put myself in the box. I guess, prevent myself from enjoying feminine things, even though it's not, it's not like mainly what I'm interested in, but I do something.
Sure.
And like people often make assumptions about me because at face value they see me as like, I guess like dude's dude or whatever. And I don't really like when people do that because I don't know, people just kind of tend to put everything in the black and white categories, and I don't like that.
Mhm.
And it's I don't know, I think it's just when you have a system that focuses on like making people one thing or another and taking away personal expression, personal choice, it doesn't just hurt. It hurts.
There's everything.
And it's when people don't have their expression, even if you don't want to necessarily use that expression, it's still a moral restriction that I think stifles freedom, and I think it really hurts everyone.
Yeah, the whole system hurts everyone in a way, right? Like if you aren't masculine enough as a male, you're gonna be bullied because that's what you're supposed to be. Or if you're not feminine enough as a female, you're gonna be bullied. If you don't fit into the categories, you're gonna be bullied. Like we bully people for a million reasons, right? Like whether it's gender, what we're talking about, or we'll get to orientation, or maybe it's race, ethnicity, weight, ability level, like whatnot. I mean, just everything, right? Like religion, I could go on, right?
A person to be one thing they're expected to be all the time. Even if they are that most of the time. Like, it's just absurd to expect them to take up all throughout their life, all the time.
Sure. We change, right? Our identities are dynamic, right? And I don't know, as you were talking about that, it reminded me, it was so funny. I was at soccer practice yesterday. And was this guy, one of the dads on my team was wearing a Rams shirt. And I went up to him and was like, oh, Rams, football tomorrow, right? Or like 2 days. It was like football season's coming. And he like for a moment forgot who he was talking to, I think. Like, and he went into like full-blown guy mode, right? Like he was just in full like, oh, what do you think about the we lost Cooper Kupp and like blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm a big football person. Like, and so I jumped full blown. I was like, yes, football conversation. Like I got super excited, he got super excited. And then you could see the moment that he like remembered. Like he had this moment where like mid-conversation where he was like, oh, wait, I think I went too far here. And I could feel him retreat and like pull back from the conversation, and I felt weird, and it was like it got awkward. Like he like realized I wasn't talking to another dude. And I'm like, but I can go full guy mode here. It's like, it's just football. Why does it have to be gendered? But it was so gendered. I just the layers of this is the point, right? It's complicated and it's not a binary. Gender is not a binary, right? It is a spectrum. And you can change the way that you present. Some people do this very dramatically. And I found it's like the coolest clip. Somebody sent this to me like 2 or 3 years ago. Ruby Rose, right? If you've heard of Ruby Rose, she identifies as gender queer. And it's like the coolest. I've never seen anyone have such a spectrum of gender in one clip ever. And it's so like powerful. There's a little bit of nudity in it, like heads up, right? But she starts out hyper feminine, like the extreme of femininity, and then goes to the extreme of masculinity, all in one like transitional clip. Really cool. And very few people will go on this level of gender variety, right? But like she calls herself gender queer and can present in both ways. And I think it's a really cool just portrayal of the extremes of gender within one individual. So I'm gonna play that for you. Okay. And just the transition from like hyper femininity to hyper masculinity, like stereotypically on both sides, really wild, right? And that's again, she identifies as gender fluid. That was her like description of what that means, gender fluid or gender queer. A lot of movies featuring these kind of things. Some of these are good representations, some of them not. Right. Like some of them are a little more like for entertainment or sexualized. So bad example would be like Mrs. Doubtfire, right? Like pretending to be female for a specific purpose. But then there are ones that are a little more authentic, like Trans America. Some of that are really like more like drag performer, like Rocky Horror Picture Show, perfect for this time of year. Or Tu Wong Fu versus more authentic, like Boys Don't Cry. Like so, kind of all over the place, all sorts of different like portrayals in the media. But a really like cool clip, I think, from her of like that transition between hyper masculinity and hyper femininity, which most people wouldn't be comfortable doing. Most of us, even though we're on a spectrum, tend to kind of hover in an area of the spectrum when it comes to our gender identity. And then it shapes our expressions, our behaviors, all sorts of things. She can go back and forth. Yeah.
You watched Psyched?
What was that?
Psyched.
No, I haven't.
It's a horror movie with in my opinion, a lot of really good like trans allegory.
Okay. I'll write it down.
It was released last year.
Okay.
I don't know, sorry, you're mentioning like movies.
No, thank you. No, great. I wrote it down. And then perfect for this time of year too, right? Yeah, so there's so many, right? And there's a bunch of, there's probably newer ones like that too. I'll write it down so I can check it out. I did a cool project when I was in college. I took a class on gender and we had to present the opposite way for a day. And it was like the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done in my life. Like, and I just always picture my kids, like my daughter Emma would be so excited if I was like, I need help with makeup. But like at the time, like I just had all these roommates I lived with in college. And for one day, I was like hyper feminine. Like I tried to wear heels and go up. I tried, you know, I carried them around a good portion of the day. I wore a dress, I wore makeup, I put stuff in my hair, like clips and things, right? Stuff. Right. And I let my roommates do. It was the wildest, most uncomfortable thing I think I've ever done in my life. But I've never been treated so nicely by people. It was like the weirdest thing ever. Like everywhere, what people held doors open for me. And we're like, people flirted with me. And I was like, oh, this is weird. Right? Like, you know, it was just such a different experience when you present opposite. And it was such a cool assignment to take that perspective for one day. And then I piggybacked with my photography class and took pictures of myself in each role on a couch together. 2 for 1, right? Whenever you can do that in a class, right? 2 for 1. And it was just such a like unique thing to be the opposite for a day. I can't even imagine the fluidity that she has. Like that's not something I could do. And very few people can. But I think what's neat about this like topic now is there is a lot more like acceptance and fluidity, even if we still struggle with it a lot. And it is a huge political button right now in our society of like defining only masculinity and femininity or male and female. And so we'll see what happens. It does shape our orientation, another topic we'll cover in a few weeks. But our next topic from here will be chapter 5. So when I see you next class on Monday, what we'll do is we'll move to female anatomy, and then we go to male anatomy after that. And then as I wrote up on the board, our first exam is on the 22nd, so it's coming. So start thinking about that first homework assignment over the weekend. Yeah. Check it out on Canvas. Email me if you have questions or thoughts, or we have a few extra minutes if you want to run an idea about your sessions now. Otherwise, have another wonderful weekend. I'm going to stop there for today, and we'll start chapter 5 on Monday.
Yeah, there's a music